We've got quite a busy night tonight from Basis HQ. We've got the lovely Caroline with us to explain to ordinary folk what the heck this is all about and connect with them. Now, we've got standing by Arfon Jones, so this is also going to be a sort of UFO feast, in that we're going to have Kerry Cassidy following us because she's just almost been burnt out of house and home. But connecting this is a vital link, an extremely important eyewitness who also spoke at Basis. So we got Basis speaker Mary Helen Hinesley. Gosh, I'll get her name right. She spoke at the Open Mind conference in Waterford just about a weekend ago. She is an eyewitness to, in a car with 4 or 5 people, an eyewitness to a massive cylindrical craft, which, as the clouds and the smoke disappeared very briefly during these horrendous fires in northwest United States, this was a cylindrical UFO or craft with 3 counter-rotating spinning elements within it, which was causing these fires. So we have an eyewitness who's seen these fires being caused. There's been rumours of laser beams and energy weapons and stuff happening. And Kerry Cassidy, who will follow Arfon shortly after we do this interview, Kerry had to leave her home. She was evacuated, and we're going to talk to her about that. We'll simulcast on the Project Camelot network as we do that. But Arfon has been interviewed by the BBC. BBC has been covering the UFO thing, and this Southwest Ireland, off the coast of Southwest Ireland, is a strategically major UFO site. Now, Mary is aware of the huge UFO base just south of Cork. This would also connect with the massive UFO base, or potentially Atlantis itself, off the extreme southwest corner of Ireland, and that is where the subject of High Brazil comes in. High Brazil is a physical island, a group of islands which appears every so often. It's known in history and been on maps. And Eamon Ansborough, who's also spoke at the Basis conference in Ireland and here in the UK, has done a great deal of research in the 1990s about major UFOs in the area where this current UFO was seen by 3 airline pilots, different airliners, on the 9th of November. So, without too much more, hope that gets you a rough and we're now bringing on Caroline, and we're bringing on Arfon, and this is Arfon's alien that he encountered in South Armagh on the Tannyoky Road. Is that right, Arfon?
Yes, it is, yeah.
Okay, so we'll put Caroline on, and Caroline, over to you.
Welcome to a combined show, Stepping Stones and the Basis Project tonight. I'm Caroline Stevens, and I've got Arfon Jones, direct from Northern Ireland, and we're talking about aliens on Tannyoky Road. So welcome, Arfon. This is the first time we've met. I've got myself updated on your story. I've seen the picture of the alien you met. Perhaps just to recap for those people who've missed Basis Part 1, could you just give us in a couple of sentences what actually happened to you on Tannyoky Road? Over to you, Arfon, and welcome.
Good. Well, basically, it was a day in it was a weekend in May 2016, and I was driving down Tannyoky Road, which leads from Market Hill to Points Pass. And I was just coming around the corner, and it was blue skies, a beautiful weather. You couldn't have expected a nicer day. And just in front of me, in the middle of the road, was this 2-legged thing. Stood like we do as a person, probably about 6 feet tall. It was quite tall, and it was a case of there was no time to grab a camera or anything. It's immediate panic at the time. It was just a case of I had to look it up and down from head to toe to take it all in. That's the first thing I decided. I'm going to have to do this, to remember just to take it all in. And it was
this the first time you'd seen an alien?
I've grown up since I was a child, kind of thinking. I always thought there was something out there, because you hear these stories of this, that, or another. So I thought, being on planet Earth, we couldn't be the only thing out there. But no, see, there's things that have happened over time that I haven't seen an actual alien before that. But there have been things that I've been thinking, what was that, But yes, an actual alien in the middle of the road, that's the first time I've encountered, anything quite like that.
So have you got any involvement with any UFO society at all?
Well, from that day, what happened, seeing that creature, whatever you want to call it, because the colour of it, the shape of it and everything, I've been talking about it. Everybody in my family knows about it. To this day, it's still, I'll talk about it weekly, to somebody. I did contact some kind of a government department. I actually emailed 2 places, and funny enough, neither of them replied. And I just wanted to get the story out there. If somebody had have replied back to me, that would have been the end of it. It would have been off my chest, and the story could have been put to bed, But because of no reply, I thought to myself, no, I need to talk to somebody, to get it out of me, get it out there, just so somebody takes it down. And I got in touch with the NI UFO Society on Facebook, and I met with one of them in Belfast, and we just spoke over coffee, and I gave him the story, and then I gradually then went to a few of the meetings, went to the conference, the Awakening Conference in Manchester last year.
So when you said you met this person in Belfast from the society through Facebook, did you meet other people who'd also encountered aliens then?
No, on that day it was just a case of meet up and chat, tell the story, and then gradually I just started going to the meetings here. There are a few people in the group that have, they have experienced different things, like you would get people within that group, obviously, they're interested in that they're. We because I'm a member of that group now, we do, and people come to, contact the group with things they've seen,
Had anybody actually can you actually take photographs of them? Has anybody actually taken one?
An actual photograph? I've seen 1 or 2 clips of, there's a case at the minute above Cave Hill in Belfast. That's actually going on. It's been happening over the past, as far as I know, few months. I think it's like, don't quote me on this here, but there was one person saying that they see these things quite often up there, from what I've heard in the past few weeks.
So is this in particular areas, or are there particular sightings in a particular area, would you say? Yeah, well, there seems to be a hot spot at the minute in Cave Hill, Belfast. That's one place I would love to go and do, like one of these night watches. So which is the area? Did you mention that area in Belfast?
Cave Hill in Belfast. There's been lights known to be seen hovering above it.
Any time of day? Or is it mainly at night?
No, it's night. Well, I've seen these videos of it at night.
So would you say yours was quite unusual because you saw yours in broad daylight?
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. Most people say, "Are you serious?" On this story. I said, "Yes, obviously I'm." I wouldn't be talking about it yesterday, last month, last year. It happened, because people talking about these kind of things.
And Arfon, we're just showing the area from Google Earth where you saw this in broad daylight, just like that picture is now.
And I can tell, yeah.
And where did he disappear to?
It was a case of, it was in the middle of the road. I was coming along with my car because I would say the engine of my car is quite noisy. So anybody would hear it coming up a few feet away from it. As I was coming along, it just decides to turn around, slowly turns around, and it had a tail, and it just swung from side to side, that was quite frightening itself, looking at, as you would say, a person, but it wasn't a person. Anything at all standing there with a tail, you immediately think some kind of a creature, you know. But it stood there with arms, legs, and with this body, like a three-muscle type of a body, running round.
And Arfon, just we're showing the picture that you drew of the area where it happened and the fields where the being actually ran across after you'd encountered it.
Yeah. So the body of this, looking at the whole thing, it was scary, you know. It's panic. Like I was saying before, I've said it to many people. I could have quite easily knocked it down because it had its back towards me, and that would have been the whole thing solved. I say to people that would be the whole thing solved because I probably would have had evidence today to say there's one of them.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, but then again, there's a side of me that wouldn't harm a thing. You know, I wouldn't harm, you know, anything at all. It wasn't the right thing to do.
So nobody accused you of hallucinations then?
I believe a person could hallucinate for a second or two, but you can't hallucinate for a good 8 to 10 seconds.
No.
Broad daylight, with the sun shining, you know, on the road. Do you know what I'm saying? When you're driving the car and you have to put the brakes on, you're looking through the windscreen. Because I'll tell you this here, within a hallucination, you don't see something turning around, leaning to the side, looking at you, and I could see every line on its forehead, and I even looked into its eyes, the two dark eyes on the road on that moment, you know. And then at that point, it just used its left hand, pulled the grass aside, and shot into the hedge, into the field.
Okay, so fast forward. So this was in 2016, wasn't it? 2016.
And
you've been part of a Facebook group. And so fast forward now to this past weekend. You were visited by the BBC, was that correct?
Yeah, well, what I will tell you about that Tannyoky thing before we go on to that, before I forget.
Okay.
I did tell Miles in the interview before that I mentioned it in it. You could listen back to it, that my mum had told me something within the family, that there was something seen years ago. And when you're a child, you pick up on something being said, a moment of anxiety within family, you know, a moment of panic, and you know, I heard them talking like anybody probably would hear parents talking. So I picked up on it, and what she has come forward and given me, well, told me what she has said. So I'll tell you, I'll read that out. She says, many years ago, roughly 35 years ago, when as a family we're going to visit her sister and her family, we were driving along this country road, and as we were approaching a bend, a figure appeared suddenly and disappeared to the other side. To say the least, it put the fear of God in us. Luckily, the children were sat in the back, and we never spoke about it. I have never experienced anything like it. It didn't look human or animal-like. The only description I could think of at the time was, what a weird encounter. She also says, we were travelling in Wales where we lived. My sister lives on the edge of Pembrokeshire, and the encounter happened between the village of Boncath, postcode beginning SA37, and a place by the name of Bulchagroes. And she also said, I was asking her there today to give me a little bit more description of what she'd seen, because I was talking to yourselves this evening, and she said it was a grey, thin being of some sort.
Did she see one with a tail?
No, she doesn't mention anything about a tail. She just says grey, you know.
A grey?
No, a grey. So the way she says grey, I assume she says colour, you know, grey in colour. A grey, tall, very thin, tall, you know, thing. A being.
Okay, so your mum's seen one and you've seen one. And...
Yeah, I've seen. But she says that's 35 years ago, and she has never spoken to anybody about it because back then, it it wasn't the kind of thing you would have talked about. And since I've encountered what I've since I've seen what I've seen in May 2016, I've asked I spoke to her after that and says, Mum, do you remember? My mum's called Sarah. She says, do you remember that there? And she's been reluctant to talk about it. But since she's seen me coming out with what I have to say, she said, yes, I will talk about, I asked her was she willing to come on camera, but she won't do that.
Well, of course, I've got people in my audience that will possibly not believe what you're talking about. It's not something that is talked about in various conversations that I have on Facebook, for sure. But what has really hit the headlines is that on the 9th of November, across southwest Ireland, the Aviation Authority reported lights. They're talking about meteorites, but they're talking about lights, and they're actually talking about UFOs on the BBC. So this is now hitting the mainstream media. It was in every newspaper apparently over last day, and it was even in the Independent 7 hours ago. So have you got any thoughts about what's been happening on southwest Ireland?
Yes, it was yesterday morning. Well, I was travelling down the road. It was about 9 o'clock. Couple of minutes past 9, I heard it on was it the FM? It was a radio station anyway, and it just gave you the highlights of what was going to be on in the next clip. And I heard that, and then I thought, no, I'll hit my phone on record because I want to hear this here, because this has to be good, because they never report anything like that on the radio. So this came out, and I was gobsmacked. That a British Airways flight, I think it was, I'd seen it.
Yeah, I've got to admit, I heard it on the radio coming over to the studios tonight. It was on Heart FM. I'll give a bit of a plug for Heart. And yeah, they said it's really taken the news world by storm. So, your mum has seen one 35 years ago, and now this sort of story is actually hitting the headlines. So is it real? It must be real.
Virgin Media News covering it, and there's all sorts of, like you say, the BBC News Online have covered it. There's a huge amount of them. All the Irish news over here. I'll tell you, the first sighting of it was reported, they say, the last Friday morning at 6:47 a.m. on November the 9th. It, from what I know here, is the pilot of a British Airways flight first contacted Shannon Airport Traffic Control to find out if there was anything going on in the area, like military exercises taking place in the airspace. And they'd come back and said, no, there wasn't. Nothing showing up on primary or secondary radar. The pilot of that Boeing 787 was flying. There was one. I think that is the one flying from Montreal to Heathrow. Went to describe how he spotted a strange flying object. It apparently had come along the left-hand side of the aircraft before it veered to the north. I think that can kind of say it wasn't a meteorite. What I would say then, there was reports of a pilot of a Virgin Airlines Boeing 747 flying from Orlando to Manchester had seen something re-entering the atmosphere. That's another one. And there was also, I think, the Virgin flight confirmed the objects were heading at the 11 o'clock position, and that two bright lights over to the right could also be could be seen climbing away at high speed. And there was a Norwegian Air 737 flight travelling from New York to Shannon, was also party to the strange encounter.
And they are still investigating this, aren't they?
Yeah, the thing is, I've heard today that there's a few reports coming now, like kind of weather reports, I don't know what they are, people, even where I work, saying that they're trying to say now that the odd expert coming out to say that it was meteorites. That is always the story when you have something big coming out like this story now. You have a couple of flights that have witnessed it. There's probably people on that plane could possibly have, videoed it on their phones or something. There could be something. But then there's people trying to say that's not real. There's that many reports out there. There's that many videos on the web, isn't there?
Yeah. Okay.
Face. There's that many fakes. There are some good things. There are real things out there.
Yes, there is more to heaven and earth than what we first think about, really, isn't there? So now, you've been involved in a BBC documentary, I understand.
Yes, there's a show. I was with the NI UFO Society, and
so that's the Northern Ireland UFO Society. How big is the Northern Ireland UFO Society?
Members wise, I don't know. There's there's a group of us.
Is it are both men and women attracted to the UFO Society?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So you were all involved in it. Were you all involved in the documentary?
No, there was a couple of us.
Okay.
I think the main guy there is Patrick Allen.
Is it a guy called Patrick Allen?
Yeah, Patrick Allen, and one of the key movers and shakers.
So what is your documentary about? Is it about your individual sightings, or did they go on location with you?
They came out on location with us on a night watch, and
have they actually aired the show yet?
No. That's what I was going to tell you as well. Funny enough, today I got news of the date it's going to be on. It's going to be a 3 program. It'll be starting on the 26th of November at 20 to 11 on Monday, the 26th of November. Then it'll be the 3rd of December, the same time, and then the program we're on will be on the 10th, Monday, the 10th of December.
Right. At what time? Sorry.
20 to 11.
20 to 11. So in the evening.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So people, can they catch it up on iPlayer? Can they?
Definitely. Yeah, it'll be on iPlayer. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Which station is this?
BBC One.
BBC One. Okay, so it's
that'll be BBC One Northern Ireland, and you can access
Northern
that
Ireland,
if you
so
want.
It might not actually be broadcast over in the on the mainland. Would that be?
That's a good question. Will it be on iPlayer over there?
I imagine it probably can be. Like you
Maybe.
can get access to a lot of the BBC things across your.
Okay, so exciting to see yourself then on mainstream media.
Yeah, and I don't know if I said there. On Saturday, they just gone. I did an interview with a journalist, BBC, and it's going to be on. Oh God, I think it was. He said, "Good Morning Ulster," the radio show. Is going to be on it. Waiting.
Do you know when that will be aired?
Just waiting for a date coming on it. It could be in the next few days. It could be in a week's time. It's not going to be that long before it's coming out.
Okay, right. Is there anything that we've missed out on this chat?
I'm trying to think here. Let me see.
Miles, have we got anything?
Yeah, I mean, your mother. What about your mother? That was.
We've covered his mother.
Yeah, but a bit more detail on that case, if possible. Can you come up with a bit more?
That's all she has said to me on that day.
Yeah, I mean, basically, she's probably blotted it out a bit, hasn't she? And it was 35 years ago, was it?
Well, she has. She before that, before I've asked her these, she would have never spoken about it. You know, she just would never have said anything about it. And I've asked her now, like, am I willing to tell me something about it? You know, and she said to me the other night, yeah, even last night, she says, I don't know if I should have spoken about this here because, you know, she still fears, you know, you seeing something not human. You feel scared, you know.
Well, I think it's like anything, isn't it? There's things that we don't really want to talk about, but we're now living in a day and an age where we are talking. We're far more open about our encounters. And so it seems to be more socially acceptable, doesn't it?
Yes, it is. There's that many of it. There's that many sightings happening. Week by week, there's things popping up.
Arfon, could you just go over where your mother's event happened? Because the Brecon Beacons, North Wales is well-known area. North and South Wales is well known for underground bases run by the military with the ETs in them.
Yes, it was. She was travelling in Wales to her sister's house on the edge of Pembrokeshire. Postcode beginning with SA37, between the village of Boncath and a place by the name of Bulchagroes. That's a good Welsh name for you. Between Boncath and Bulchagroes.
Yeah. There is a book written by Peter Paget called The Welsh Triangle. I think that might be within that area. I'm not sure.
Yeah, down there. I can tell you, over the years, there's been quite a few. One of the most famous cases of UFO sightings was in Broadhaven. An UFO sighting, to be precise, I would say 41 years ago. It was pupils had seen an UFO, a craft of some sort, in a field opposite the playground. And I'm not talking one or two pupils. Probably, well, there was kids out on the playground. There's a huge amount of them had seen it. And they'd also seen something silver, a silver person getting out of it.
Well,
BBC...
have you met Kaz Clark at all?
No.
Kaz Clark, we interviewed her in the summer, and she was talking about an alien encounter in Wales.
Yeah.
Arfon, I've got that picture you grabbed from Google Earth of the UFO in broad daylight in a similar area that you are mentioning. So that's actually a picture from Google.
Is that the round, kind of a round silvery one?
Yes, that's right.
There's like a wire, electric wire line going across it, I think.
Yeah.
With that one there, that actual picture is dated. If you check on Google Earth, that one is May 2016, the same month as what I seen, and it's directly where you come down to the junction and you turn right to get down that road. If you directly look to your left, that's how that photo's been, the direction that photo's been taken. And down, the way I can describe it is, you come round that corner, a wee bit of an S-bend onto that stretch of road. That creature thing I'd seen went straight into the field where that thing is flying over. I don't know. It could have been connected to it. I do not know. It's funny to, it's something I have. But I checked later on after that, 2017. The footage of the skyline there has changed. They've changed it from the junction to May 2017. But the stretch of road up from that away up has not been changed.
So basically, they've taken the UFO picture out of Google.
It's been just wiped. Yeah, it's been. They've put cloudy skies in instead. The way I look at things to do with Google Earth, around my area, you can look at roads. They don't update them for years. Some of them, there's like, why update that one a year after?
How interesting. Yeah.
And I've showed it to a few people, one or two experts, and they've said that's not a bird. It's not,
It's been airbrushed out of history. It's like rewriting the history books, isn't it?
Yeah, but little did they think somebody kept it.
And you kept it, Arfon.
Yeah.
Okay, is there anything to add then? Have we got any message for the viewers? Because they do need to do their own research, don't they, Arfon?
Well, what I will say to you, there's over the years, anybody can look up online. There's places like in Wales, like my mum have seen that there. And there's other people probably have seen things. They will come forward and say years ago they've seen something. There's a place like RAF Brodie down in Wales there. It's been a hot spot UFOs over the years. You can even look online, and there's National Archives that have released files which examine sightings across Wales, and those papers span it spans 4 decades, and it has nearly 7,000 documents to it. The reading, you can sit for hours sifting through things.
Well, hopefully this programme will give people more confidence to come forward and that they'll be listened to. So, if there's nothing else to add, thank you, Arfon, for coming into the studios via Skype from Northern Ireland. And thanks to the viewers at home for listening. And as I say, do your own research, but hopefully it'll give people more confidence to step forward and say, yes, they've had an encounter. So with that, I'll bid you good night. Thank you for listening.
And thank you, Arfon. Thank you, everybody. Good night.